right? This song right here, he's like, I know I said too much, shut it up. You see? Part of the script every time, even with the music, right? All right, but this is going to be part 5 of the glorious conformity rant, right? And I was touching on hypocrites and control in order to control you, the selective mutism portion. And I want to go and do the next part of the selective mutism portion because I found where I went wrong in the other video. I wasn't wrong, but when I typed in the DSM, this one, I put DSM selective mutism, and I was looking for the word trigger. It's because I had it in the other channel, or the other. No, that's fair. I had it in the other window for the selective mutism. I just put definition of selective mutism, and it says a selective mutism is an anxiety disorder in which a person, see, you can't just have anxiety. It's like branch offs and everything. So selective mutism is an anxiety disorder in which a person who is otherwise capable of speech becomes unable to speak when exposed to specific situations, specific places, or to specific people. Right? If I gave you a jar, give your girl a jar of pickles. Right? She loves pickles. Don't know why. And she can't, she is unable to open it. She is just unable. She's trying her damn hardest, but she is unable. Physically unable. Maybe even spiritually unable. Like she's mustering up all her spiritual strength to try to open this pickle jar, and she is unable. Definition of unable: lacking the skill, means, or opportunity to do something. That's literally just what pops up. Definition of unable: you lack the skill, the ability, or the opportunity to do it. Right? So you were capable of it. You were capable of speaking in selective mutism, but you've become unable to do that. That is not selective. It's more so reactive because you go back to this window. Selective mutism is an anxiety disorder in which a person who is otherwise capable of speech becomes unable to speak when exposed to specific situations, specific places, or to specific people, one or multiple of which serves as triggers. I'm telling you, I don't make this up. You can open up the thing if you want to, open up the website that has the information of it, right? But it's an anxiety disorder, supposedly. So when you get too anxious, you become unable to speak, this, that, the third, right? That is not selective. But then they'll tell you you're choosing, right? This is why I say all of this is hypocrites in control in order to control you. This is why they're telling you. This is why they make the whole diagnostic manual. The diagnostics and statistics for mental health disorders. Because they are just simply trying to control you. And they will be hypocrites. If they feel like silence is the best answer, it is not selective mutism. Right? Somebody might say something powerfully stupid and trigger, right? Which is the cause for something to happen. That's the definition of trigger. I've said it in the part 2 video. Right? If they caused that to happen, they said something so powerfully stupid that because you said something powerfully stupid, I feel like silence is the best answer. Like, I have nothing to say to that. I'm unable to give you a verbal response. You got selective mutism. I don't want to even talk. Honestly, I don't even want to speak to you no more. I don't want to lose no more brain cells. I can make this choice. Can you differentiate from me making that choice from them being unable to? Right? Oh, this person might have touched me. Right? This happens all the time. You get a whole Me Too movement. That person now comes around you. You never told nobody. You tell me. For all the Me Too movement people who've been fondled as kids or whatever, is that selective mutism that you didn't speak up? Were you afraid seeing that person cause a trigger, and then you didn't say anything? You were unable. Were you unable, or could you speak and you didn't want to because maybe you feared a consequence or something like that? Or were you just simply unable? Like you were trying to speak, but the words just didn't come out. And you won't figure them out. You won't figure that out whether it was selective or reactive until they speak. So again, it's like when you see this post where they go, "Oh, you don't chase nobody, and I don't chase nobody, so we just never talk." Is that selective mutism? Did that person make you so anxious you ain't know what to say? You just couldn't speak. You became unable to speak. You couldn't find the words. What does that mean? Everything is so vague nowadays, and that's exactly how they want it, so that they can manipulate it when they need to. Because when they by leaving it vague, they can say, "Oh, it means specifically this." When that specific situation comes up, they can then change. They can mold it to go, "Okay, no, this selective mutism means this. You don't want to speak to this therapist. You're choosing." But if you're unable to, it is not selective. That's more of a reactive thing. It's like somebody who has an involuntary spasm. That is not selective. I want my arm to stop twitching. I, that, that, I want that to stop, but I can't stop it. I'm trying to get it to stop, but I can't stop it. I'm trying to speak, but I can't speak. That's different. It's like when people say they like experienced the hag or something. I was trying to scream, but I couldn't get the words out. That's reactive. That's not selective. You were trying to select the scream option, but you could not. You became unable. So that would be reactive or hyperreactive mutism, right? But again, they got to change the words. They got to manipulate the words and the information. Again, in order to keep you in control. That way you don't select it yourself. That way you always select the option to speak. Because to select the option to be quiet is selective mutism. You see? To select the option, this is why most people don't do it. You got the right to remain silent. To remain silent. Boom. They don't want you to do that because then they can't get information out of it. You see? But let's say you did a crime or something, right? Let's say we use that same analogy. Me Too movement. That person, they went fondled somebody, you got fondled because of it. What are they going to do? I have the right to remain silent. I want to speak to my lawyer. That would be selective mutism. Just not to wanting to exercise your right to remain silent is selective mutism. Or is that reactive because you're going, you feel me, you're anxious about the consequence, you don't respond. You can't respond even though you're trying to speak. Are they trying to speak? Only they can decide whether they were trying to speak or not. And you, like, again, you won't know it until they tell you, "Yo, I was trying to speak, but I couldn't." I could sit there and go and pretend like I was trying to speak, and then later tell you, "You see my face? I wasn't really trying to speak. I was trying to give you the illusion that I was trying to speak so that later I can say I had reactive mutism. For some reason, my vocal cord just wouldn't come out. I couldn't because I was so bullshit." Right? But of course, this is what they do. hypocrites in control in order to control you, because they'll try to sit there and get you to speak whole time, but then they'll tell you, sometimes silence is the best answer when you being quiet benefits them. This is why they try to come around me, actually being very disrespectful, which they're gonna suffer for it. Oh, shut up, this, that, and third, sit down, be quiet. That's what dude yesterday on the bus was trying to say. I promise you can check those cameras. I could have sat there recorded. I had my headphones on. They had to try to be so loud that I could hear it through the headphones. That's how loud they were trying to be. That's why they had to do the whole side. Right? Now we want you to be quiet. Right? That way I would select the don't talk option. Right? They think they're gonna harass me to the point where I react with silence, which is not selective, right? Where it's to the point where maybe I fear so much that I won't speak. Right? It's a trigger. Because you are triggered, you react that way. I'm not really that triggered. I'm just pointing out observations, which is why I can continue to speak about it. Right? It's just the truth. To me, you calling it, oh, we triggered him and now he's speaking. I'm just talking the truth. I see it. I speak about it. I'm talking logic, really. This is why it's so easy to rant. Like I can come up with it on the fly because it's just I'm observing the world around me, and it makes sense. I was walking outside yesterday. What did I say? I'm still paying attention to the random alarms and stuff that go off for their noise. And what happened right then and there? The alarm went off. Now I can choose to speak about it. I can choose to not speak about it. I felt like speaking about it, so I selected the speak about it option. It's not like today I came and it was like I want to talk about it, but no, I have the option. I'm capable of doing it. There's nothing making me unable to do it, so I have a choice. If I slice off your legs, you are unable to walk. It's not selective walking. You just can't walk. You are unable. You lack the ability. That's the definition of unable. You know what? I apologize. Should have been the first thing I did. I don't know why. Excuse me. I have to sneeze. Now, definition of select. The verb, carefully choose as being the best or most suitable. You chose in selective mutism, you chose that not speaking is the best or most suitable. And that's a mental illness. If I go to a therapist and I choose that speaking is the best and most suitable, when you are trying to require me to speak, and you make speaking to you a requirement, it's contradictory because you're not allowing me to choose. You're imposing a consequence. I'm able to. I don't want to speak to you. He's able to speak to me, but he doesn't want to speak to me. He has selective mutism, no? Oh yeah, that is technically selective mutism. He's able to speak to me. He doesn't want to. How do I make it so that he's forced to? I make it part of a disorder. Right? You don't want the disorder, then you will speak to me. You don't want to get diagnosed, right? Because selective mutism is tied to an anxiety disorder. If you don't want to speak to me, you have anxiety. You don't want to talk to a stranger, you have anxiety. You don't know nothing about me. I don't know nothing about you. Why do I want to speak to you? The court told you to speak to me. I don't want to speak to the motherfuckers either. Right? I carefully chose as being the best or most suitable. Adjective of a group of people or things, carefully chosen from a larger number as being the best or most valuable. What else you got for me? Select of a place or group of people, only used by or consisting of a wealthy or sophisticated elite. Exclusive. Oh, Hypocrites in control in order to control you. Only they're allowed to select. You gotta be elite to select. In order to be elite, you gotta have some type of status and authority. The judge, the police, the therapist. You gotta be in that position of power where you feel like, nah, the ball's in my court. They're the only ones who can make something a requirement of somebody else, even though that's technically they still can't make it. They can only give their idea of a consequence is. Right? I have the right to resist arrest, but they make it illegal to resist arrest. That's why they made it a law. Right? They got it's an illusion. Most laws are illusions. They're all illusory. Most laws are illusions. Right? They're made in order to control you. He could resist arrest, whether he's wrong or not. He can resist arrest. If I feel like I'm wrong, or if I feel like I'm right, I can resist arrest. But then they'll say he's resisting arrest because he's not in authority. He is resisting the people in authority, and that's illegal to resist the people in authority, even if they're abusing their authority. And then we're going to send you to jail for resisting authority until you prove why you explain why you resisted authority. And the authority already knows why you resisted the authority. It's pretty much a catch me if you can type of situation. I'm gonna pause this real quick. All right, I'm back. I just realized, I don't know why, even though I've done it before, that I can like pause videos. I got like a whole pause button and I could just resume. My brain, right? All right, but back to the whole conversation about the selective mutism and all of this, right? And how you gotta be elite in order to be able to select, right? You can sit there and choose to stare at somebody and not say a word. They have to take away your rights to the freedom of speech, the right to remain silent, right? It's different. To select and to be unable to do something are very different, right? I can sit here and be like, yo, I'm in this casino. In order to sit in here, you got to be a customer at least one of the vendor stations, right? Even if they go for sports book, right? Right here, where I'm at. I could not buy something. I have the choice right now. I have the money for it. So now I got the choice to whether I want to buy something or not. I'm good for now. But they make a requirement to limit my selection options, right? This table is for paying sportsbook customers only. You've made a rule in order to control the situation. I don't want you sitting here if you're not going to pay for something. Am I capable of sitting here? Yes. But I want to enforce my own rules so that you don't sit here. Regardless of the rule, I'm capable of sitting here. I got eyes, I got legs. Boom, I can sit it down. Boom. And I'm here. Now I can select to buy something because I have the money. I am able to do it. Now I could be broke and not have any money. I don't have a choice to not buy something, or to whether or not to buy something. I'm unable to. You see, I'm not selecting the fact, right? It's just a default setting where I can't. You see, this is where the whole problem comes in, right? You don't have a choice. This is the difference between selective mutism and, right, the people in the authoritative position are trying their best to control your selective options. This is why they're able to select. They can select who sit at the table by making the rule of if you don't pay for something, you can't sit here. If you are under a certain age, you can't come in here. Right? Do you have the technical choice to come in here? Yeah, I can resist the people who say that I can't come in here by just running in here and then resist them. And see, then it becomes a power struggle at that point. I'm strong enough, you can't move me. Right? They may leave you alone, they may call the cops or whatever. Oh damn, this nigga's brolic as shit. You can't move them. You are unable to move them, right? You want me to leave up? I ain't saying me per se. I'm just saying in general. If they are unable to move you, they got to get somebody else. You're not selecting whether you can move me or not. You just can't. Now you got to get somebody else who may be able to, or maybe build yourself until you're able to, right? It's not a selective thing, right? And it's the same thing. These are the ways that they gaslight you in order to control you. And I'm just like I said. I make these rant videos because they don't want me to exercise my freedom of speech. They want to condition me to utilize my right to remain silent when it benefits them, and then speak when it benefits them. They're trying to control my speech, right? This is why the algorithms have certain words you can and can't say, right? They got a filter, they got a whole filtering process and everything. You can say certain trigger words, right? If I don't say certain words, right, they'll tell you to control your triggers, right? Hypocrites in control in order to control you. They'll tell you to control your triggers, right? Work on your triggers. You can say a specific word, and it'll even trigger the AI that's supposed to not have any emotional intelligence, but it's so focused on the feelings of other human beings. You might hurt somebody else's feeling, so you can't say the F word and referring to this group of people. We don't want that because we don't want their feelings to get hurt, right? So you might trigger the algorithm if you say this. If you speak about this certain topic, you speak about MK Ultra, you might trigger the algorithm and they might say, you know what, that was one of the ones that we put that even if they talk about it, it's immediate misinformation. Same way that they were doing about during COVID when, when you were telling the truth, that's misinformation in order to keep you into that loop. We're trying to control your speech, right? You're able to speak, but we have to limit that for you. You speak and say the things we want you to say, and when we want you to say it or not say it. We pick when we want you to say it or not say it. It's not selective mutism. And now I gotta hear these faggots from the shelter. See, I said the F word. That was for a select group of people, right? Now I gotta hear them all day, right? Because they've been trying to put themselves, Matt been sitting there trying to put themselves and attach themselves to me, making all these gay jokes and stuff with his friends. It's disgusting, right? But they want to be heard, so they're gonna put themselves in your space, right? But again, selective mutism. Maybe he has a disorder where they can't shut the fuck up. They talk 24/7, right? Maybe it's involuntary. But then if he does shut the fuck up, he got selective mutism. He's anxious. Him yelling all the time, just overly talking. Because I'm pretty sure, I'm pretty sure, that's going to be the next video. Talking too much, right? This is how they control, right? You don't want to speak, you're not talking enough. Selective mutism. What? Selective chatterbox? Is that the next DSM manual disorder? I'm gonna look it up. They gotta have something. Right? They say, if you're lying, if you talk too much and stuff like that. There's a psychology to that apparently as well. You can't just want to get the truth out, right? You gotta undo all the lies. But no, as soon as he's over explaining and everything. But then if I'm over explaining, I would just go to be quiet and then see how they try to gaslight you into not speaking. It's crazy, right? Like I said, same people you hear in the background, that's the same people you heard in the video from the overspraying thing. Same people on most of the videos I post. And they're gonna come with that same script. Let it go, shut up. Right? Now I question whether they're selecting the option to be part of the gang stalking, or are they unable to escape that cycle based on their triggers and trauma. Right? Half of these people been to halfway houses and things like that. rehab and all of these things. They had issues before, whatever repressed emotions that they got. This dude, he was sitting there telling the whole story about, them stealing something and he got locked up and then they sent him to the rehabilitation and all of that, the halfway house or the psych ward and all of this stuff. Matt, the one behind me, right? Now, does he have any triggers? Maybe he's talking so much in order to run from his problems. That's what triggers him talking so much. But then if he gets quiet, you got selective mutism. Because then that's also caused from the trauma. Right? Oh, because you've been traumatized, you're overly nice. But then, okay, I'm gonna try to fix this overly niceness with regression. Oh no, because you know what I'm saying? You've been traumatized by being overly nice. You're not being overly aggressive in order to compensate. And that's a disorder too. You gotta keep you in the middle. This is why I said, okay, everything's a spectrum at this point. If I can selective mutism, you gotta selective talking too much. You gotta have selective chatterbox where you feel me in certain social situations, you just talk too much because you're anxious. It will have to be the same. But then who decides what is the perfect amount of speaking? Something as simple as that. Who decides what's the perfect amount of communication? Who decides that? Who said, you know what? I've mastered the art of communication. Everyone should follow this rubric, right? Glorious conformity, and everyone should follow this rubric, right? Because I've mastered. This is why I say the same thing. Who's in the perfect mental health to be making these decisions on what the DSM, what's a mental disorder, if everything becomes a spectrum at some point by leaving it vague, right? Now, I'm gonna make the next video.